Hi and welcome along to the Health Files. It's Chris Brown speaking here. This is a 12-step series to understanding health, nutrition, the body and how to become effective in your weight loss. Episode 1 is the importance of a detox or a body cleanse, and we will go into depth about why a cleanse is necessary in order to achieve the weight loss for life and never to have to yo-yo diet ever again. So I'm going to first of all introduce you to the program and what we're going to be covering today. Toxins are bad news and can literally leave you feeling pretty damn shocking. If you're highly toxic, you're going to be agitated, easily angered, lack sleep, struggle to sleep, feel constantly tired and worn out and overweight, plus pretty much everything else that's going wrong in your body. So you can see just by a very short introduction that a body cleanse is really important in order to overcome these problems and finally get back to living the life you deserve, with positivity and freedom and not having to worry about your health or weight anymore. So in this webinar, I'm going to be covering the following few things. The first thing that we'll discuss is what toxins actually are and the food groups that place toxic strain on the body. When you understand what toxifies the body, then it is easier to understand the necessity to remove certain things from our food and lifestyle. We'll then explore the food groups that need eliminating. Secondly, we'll then delve into understanding the science behind fat storage. Once we clearly establish why we store fat, then it's way easier to get rid of it for good. We'll also look at the myths of dieting and how to overcome yo-yo dieting once for all. I will explain why cutting calories will lead to more fat storage in the long run and how to overcome this. So if you need to take notes, please grab a pen and we'll get started. If not, then listen, absorb and learn, and hopefully I'll clear up anything you've been unsure of. So what are toxins? I'm not sure if you really truly know what toxins are. I mean, you hear about detox this and detox that, but what does it actually all mean? Is it just a term that we've actually come used to as a new diet, or is it actually something a little bit more meaningful? Okay, so there are many different exposures to toxins in our daily encounters, as you can see from the selections of images. It can be more than just food that toxifies the body. I mean, looking at those images, what is scary to me is the fact there is a no human warning sign for the pesticides, yet we are caught in our most valuable food source in it. It's pretty crazy to me. You also have pollution that creates a toxic load on the body. When generally looking at toxins and things that create a toxic load on the body, you can see some that you can change immediately, whilst others, such as pollution, is really out of our control. So it's important to change the things that you can impact upon immediately and that you can directly control yourself. Things such as cutting out sugar, wheat, alcohol, dairy, processed foods, caffeine, the likes. You see, these things have a direct effect on our health, toxicity and weight loss, but consuming them is a choice. It's a choice you can simply make to eat and drink them, the same way that you did decide to eat and drink them. Make sense? So here's the toxic food groups that we'll be removing from our diet for the cleanse. Wheat, dairy, sugar, caffeine, gluten, alcohol, processed foods. Wheat. Well, the first point I'd like to make about wheat is that it's an insulin mimetic. What does this mean? It basically means that by consumption of wheat, you're going to look around 10 months pregnant. Have you ever gotten that bloating feeling after you've had a slice of bread or some pasta? In addition to this, the body actually processes wheat as a sugar, and therefore it spikes your insulin levels and puts the body into fat storage mode. So aside from being toxic, it also plays a major role in fat storage, which clearly we want to avoid. It is the glue-like gluten that can cause major problems as it lines the walls of the colon and prevents it from expelling waste properly. This then creates a backup in the colon for potential toxicity leakage to other organs. Wheat today is a processed food. Basically, the overproduction of wheat breaks down the grain and it is no longer a whole food, and the body doesn't generally recognize it. The bleaches then used to whiten flour also cause toxicity to the liver. Dairy. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit controversial to most people, so I want you to have an open mind. Dairy foods have a huge misconception as being a necessary health food. I'm going to delve a little bit into this one. Milk is more recently known as a deadly poison. I mean, for starters, milk often contains a lot of hormones and antibiotics, not to mention blood and pus. That's right. The argument I get most about dairy is, where do we get our calcium from if we cut milk out of our diets? Well, first of all, there's more calcium in a bag of spinach than there is in a whole 6-pint carton of milk. And secondly, milk is pasteurized and homogenized, and pasteurization is actually defined as the total abstinence of enzymes. Death is often described as no more present enzyme activity. So basically, the milk is dead. Okay, there's no living activity within the milk. The enzymes are killed in the boiling process. This is in order to kill disease and to increase shelf life. After all the goodness is boiled out of the milk, the homogenization process is actually to fortify the milk with chemical versions of calcium and other nutrients. So basically the milk that we're left with is sugar water with chemicals, blood pus, antibiotics and hormones. Sounds pretty appetizing, doesn't it? And also on the calcium argument, there are 12 minerals that actually make up bone density. Magnesium and zinc probably being the most important of the 12. And basically calcium can actually block these other minerals from being absorbed if we have an unusual large amount of calcium in our diet. The countries with the highest consumption of dairy, okay, actually have the highest proportion of bone disease. Okay, countries with the lowest consumption of dairy actually have the lowest cases of bone disease. Alcohol's a pretty quick one. We're not going to go into real depth with it, but basically alcohol is a poison and toxifies the liver. Remember, if we toxify the liver, then we're going to f fat. Ever heard of the phrase, what's your poison? Well, that's basically a true reflection of what alcohol is. That's pretty much it for alcohol. Your body cannot use it for anything. It has zero benefits to the body. Sugar is the biggest reason we store fat for numerous reasons. From a toxic point of view, it has a high toxic load on the body, especially the more refined sugars. The more refined, the quicker it will be stored as fat. The liver has a big problem with sugar, as it also plays havoc